guys, and welcome to my channel. Winter is coming and I love nothing more than watching movies that make me feel comforted and cozy. So in this video, I'm recommending some cozy horror movies to get you through those dreary, dark days. Cozy horror movies are movies that are more about atmosphere and mood than they are scares, blood, and gore, and they're really just comforting to watch. So first is Crimson Peak from 2015. So it's about this young woman, she's an author. She meets this mysterious bachelor, falls head over heels in love with him. They get married and he sweeps her away to his beautiful mansion where he also lives with his creepy sister who has some weird feelings for him, and there's a little bit of incestuous stuff happening between them. And when this woman is there, she learns that there's a dark secret, a big dark secret that this brother and sister duo are hiding. There may be some ghosts on the property, and she may start seeing them. I loved this one so much. It is so beautiful to look at. The setting, the costume design, the performances from the characters are just beautiful, brilliant in this cold, dark place it's always cold and there's a hole in the ceiling, so there's always snow falling through the ceiling, and it's a perfect dreary mood watch. And this is a newer one that I think a lot of people hated, but I personally loved. It's called The Invitation, and it's from 2022. This is about a young woman who has really lost every person in her family life. She decides to turn to an ancestry site to discover if she has any other family out there, and she learns that she does. And she meets with this person. She gets invited to this wedding in England in this beautiful gothic mansion, and she meets this mysterious, I don't know what he is, he's like a duke or something. She meets him, they fall in love rather quickly, and she learns that there's some dark stuff happening and it might involve vampires. This is a gothic romance. It's not bloody guts and all of that stuff. It's more about mood, and I feel like this was a really cute, cozy adaptation of the Dracula and his bride story, and I feel like it's perfect for people who are not looking for those scares. It's perfect entry horror for younger fans, particularly fans of movies like Twilight who are looking to elevate to the next step. I personally liked this, and I think it's really cute. Next, we cannot have a list like this without recommending Sleepy Hollow, the Tim Burton horror classic about Ichabod Crane, a detective who is sent to the small sleepy town of Sleepy Hollow to investigate a series of murders where people are losing their heads, and he quickly learns about the legend of the Headless Horseman. This movie is just perfect. It's always foggy, it's always dark and dreary. It's a town that is haunting. It's both scary to look at, scary to think of living in this town, but also I can't help but want to live there because it feels cozy. It is the epitome of cozy to me. It almost feels magical. Then we have The Changeling. The Changeling is about a composer whose wife and daughter are tragically killed in a car crash. So in effort to move on with his life and get some work done, he decides to move into this creepy old mansion. And when he gets there, he realizes that he's not alone, and there might be the ghost of a little child in there. And he soon decides to dig deeper into the mystery surrounding this ghost to figure out what's going on and what this ghost is trying to tell him. George C. Scott is amazing. In this movie, he kind of is playing a little bit against type. He's usually the bold, boisterous type, but in this one, he's kind of reserved, and he's analyzing the situation, and he's absorbing what's happening with a father's eye. So he is not scared of what this ghost is. He wants to help this ghost. And there's one particular moment in this movie where he's laying in bed and he's crying, and it is one of the hardest scenes to watch because you feel like you've walked into an intimate moment that you're not supposed to see, and it's just heartbreaking, and you just really feel for this character and connect with him, and he's just so compassionate. There's just some really scary stuff that happens in this mansion, and when he uncovers the deeper mystery, it's really fascinating. Next, we have The Others. The Others is also a gothic horror that is set in this creepy gothic mansion, and it centers around this mother, and her two kids are very sick, and soon she begins noticing strange things happening around the home. This one has some incredibly creepy moments. One particular moment involving the daughter, which I think is very well known. There's a twist in this story that's really shocking. It's really sad, and this This movie is just so atmospheric and Nicole Kidman is amazing. Next is The Woman in Black. This stars Daniel Radcliffe as a solicitor who is sent to this small town to handle the affairs of this woman who passed away. He explores this creepy town where there's a lot of secrets going on, and when they discover who he's there for, what house he's there to help, they all act strangely because they know that this house is haunted. And he goes to this house and he discovers that it is haunted. The dread in this movie is so suffocating. There's just so much going on, and the ghost story itself is really sad when you learn about it, and it's subtle. It's a subtle horror. Next, we have John Carpenter's The Fog. So this is about a small, sleepy coastal town that is overrun by a mysterious fog as the town enters its 100-year celebration. In the fog comes these ghostly fishermen who are seeking revenge for stuff that happened to them years prior. This one is just, it's all about the atmosphere. The music as well really elevates it, and it's just a really creepy ghost story. Next is The Haunting. This is based on the Shirley Jackson book, The Haunting of Hill House, and it's about a parapsychologist who invites a group of people to stay in Hill House, which is known for being haunted, and they're basically there to investigate the haunting. The stuff that happens in this, it's very subtle and simple, but absolutely horrifying, and it's just really about the characters and the atmosphere. It's creepy, it's a little slow, it might be a little slow for some, but I think it has an incredibly haunting payoff, and I think it's a classic that everyone needs to watch. Next is The InnKeepers. So this is a Thai West horror film about two innkeepers who are working at this inn, this hotel that's about to close, and they decide to investigate for ghosts, and they may find them and experience some really trippy stuff. This one is just, it's quiet, it's just slow, it's a slow build, a slow burn until we increase to the paranormal activity. I love the characters in this film so much. I feel like they really feel like lived in real people that have worked at this place for a while. I love the idea of this hotel, this inn with so much history, and all these different guests that come in who also have their own backstories, and it's just really a well-told ghost story. Another Thai West film on this list is The House of the Devil. So The House of the Devil is about a young woman. She's strapped for cash. She's trying to get a new apartment, so she takes this babysitting job on a night of a full moon, an eclipse, and when she gets there she learns that she's not babysitting kids. She almost doesn't take the job because it's a little weird, but they offer her more money and she stays. So over the course of the film you're really seeing her just kind of have a seemingly normal night, and then over the course of the film she starts to investigate this house and she learns that there's something going on. I love, again, like The InnKeepers, this is another slow build, quiet horror that really amps up. It slowly builds up to an insane climax, and it has great music. I love the aesthetic of this one, and Jocelyn Donahue is just so likable, and she's a great final girl that I think is overlooked a lot. Then we have The Autopsy of Jane Doe. So this one is set in a mortuary, a family-run, father and son run mortuary, and one night the police bring in this Jane Doe, and they tell the father and son duo that they need the cause of death by morning. They get to work and they start doing their autopsy, and it doesn't go as normal. There's lots of weird things that come from this body, and they slowly unravel the mystery of this Jane Doe, and the night just escalates to crazy proportions. I love this film for many reasons. I personally love stories set in morgues or mortuaries. They're creepy all on their own with nothing else needed, and also kind of comforting in a weird way. And the cast, the father and son duo, Emile Hirsch and Brian Cox, fantastic. I loved watching them together. You can tell there's a lot of turmoil between them, and there's a lot of heartache between them while they're doing their autopsy. It's a little gory at times, but not too gory, I don't think. But it's super fascinating, and when they reveal the mystery, I was like on the edge of my seat. I thought it was a really great reveal. The paranormal stuff that happens throughout the story is really creepy and well done. And lastly, we're gonna finish it off with Skeleton Key. This is a New Orleans set Southern Gothic horror about a nurse who takes a job caring for this elderly man in his home with his creepy wife, and she slowly starts to learn about the mystery of this couple, and it's crazy. It's intense. This this one is shocking, and it's kind of a downer, and it goes places that are unexpected and really just quite bold because it's not happy. It doesn't wrap itself up in a little bow, and it's really creepy. The New Orleans setting really adds a lot to this film because that's an area just rich in history on its own, and it's just fun to see it come into play in this beautiful gothic mansion. And the performances, the cast in this movie, they're just amazing, so it makes it easier to connect with the characters and want to root for them and find out what's happening. And I love the way the mystery unfolds with this one, and it all builds up to an insane climax. And there you have it. Those are some of my cozy horror movie recommendations. Let me know if you like any of these movies on my list and what movies you would add to my cozy horror list. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I will catch you next time. Bye.